following screencast shows you the new Easy Invoice module for generating receipts in CAS Genesis World. With the Easy Invoice module, you can easily generate receipts for addresses, opportunities or projects. This will be a convenient way for you to invoice opportunity items, project items, time records, expenses or external services. Additionally, 2 print document templates are available in all the CAS Genesis World standard languages. When activating Easy Invoice, you will be given your own area in the management console where you can make settings for this module. In the General area, you can create, configure or delete receipt types. Each type of receipt must be assigned to a statistic factor and a print template. The statistic factor determines how the associated receipts are weighted in the sales statistics. At this point, you're also determining the receipt type for cancellation receipts. In this area, you're also going to see and change the available tax rates and the standard tax rates for receipts. In the number assignment area, you can create, configure or delete number ranges for the receipt types. A number range consists of an optional prefix and a start value. The business year is created automatically depending on the receipt date. Here you can also determine the start month and the year displayed for the business year. In the payment terms area, you can finally configure different payment agreements and select a standard payment term. In the application scenario 1, you should first create an offer for an opportunity. Due to the automatic transfer of all the relevant data from the opportunity, Easy Invoice gives you the chance of creating receipts in a more convenient way. Finally, along with the offer, you create a print document that you can send directly to the customer. To create a receipt for an opportunity, the opportunity has to be linked to an address, which can then be transferred as the customer address for the receipt. With Easy Invoice, you have a special tab for companies and individual contacts at your disposal. It will give you an overview of all the relevant customer address information required for creating receipts. Contact persons inherit this information from their company. In addition to the customer address, you have to create at least one item for the opportunity so that the Create Receipt button is activated. Furthermore, the items have to be linked to a product so that they can be transferred into the receipt. You can create receipts for opportunities using the statistic factor 0, e.g. for offers, or the statistic factor 1, e.g. for invoices. The opportunity has to be saved before creating a receipt to ensure that the most up-to-date opportunity information is always transferred. Customer address information is transferred to the receipt. This includes the customer's address information. The link can still be modified before you save it for the first time. The customer number is automatically adopted from the customer address. You can also edit the recipient after saving. At this point, you can delete the existing recipient link, create a new one, or edit the existing link. The payment terms are adapted from the customer's address too. You can also edit them on the receipt. If a payment term has not been created for a customer address and you are not editing the field on the receipt manually, the default payment term stored in the management console is selected when saving. In addition, the opportunity items you selected before are transferred as received items. On the General tab, you are provided with an overview of the total amounts of all the received items. The currency of the opportunity is applied here as the receipt currency. Finally, the items are listed individually on the Received Items tab. Using the toolbar, you can create new items for the receipt, or you can edit or delete the existing ones. A special mask for document items simplifies the editing of data records. The Details tab contains further information about the payment status of the receipt, as well as more detailed information on the taxation applicable for the customer. At this point, you can also create a text for your document. For each receipt, you can display a preview of your document before you print it. A document is created in CAS Genesis World and linked with the receipt only after you have generated the print document. When creating the print document, a number is automatically generated for your receipt. The receipt data are finally transferred into the print document. The customer address or the address of a different recipient, if specified, is used as the postal address. Below the type of receipt, you will see additional receipt information and the corresponding parties listed. If you created an invoice text, it will be displayed directly underneath it. Finally, a list follows containing all the receipt items, including discount, tax rate, and payment agreements. Changes to the receipt can be transferred into the existing document by using the Update Print Document button. Every time you do this, a new version of the document is created in CAS Genesis World. The next application example shows you how you can seamlessly build projects and their associated time records using Easy Invoice. On the basis of this, you will finally create an invoice that includes the work report. In order to be able to create a receipt for a project, it must be linked to a primary address first, which can then be transferred as a customer address into the receipt. The stored information in the billing section is also transferred to the receipt on the Details tab. If an invoice recipient has been saved to the project, then this recipient will be transferred to the receipt as a different recipient. Using the Order tab, you can create receipts for your project. Projects should contain at least one item, and all items must be linked to a product in order to be successfully integrated into the receipt. To transfer also time records, expenses, and external services to the receipt, first the items for the time records have to be created using the function Create Items for Time Records of the report Time Records. Please note that the appropriate option in the settings of the report has to be activated. Now the function Create Items for Time Records is available. For projects, you can create receipts with statistic factor 0, orders or offers, or receipts with statistic factor 1, invoices. The receipt will automatically receive all the relevant information for creating receipts from the project. The primary address of the project is adopted as customer address of the receipt, including the associated customer number, taxation, and payment terms. The recipient of the invoice for the project is linked to the project as a different recipient. Additionally, the reference mark, the reference number, and the commercially responsible person for the project are transferred into the receipt. The previously selected order items will be transferred as receipt items and displayed separately. Here, the data of the earliest and latest time record are automatically inserted as the payment period. If time records, expenses, and external services were all invoiced together with the item, then you can display them on the item mask. This way, you can see at a glance what was billed with that item. For receipts with statistic factor 1 or -1, the Financial Accounting Transfer On field is also available on the Details tab. Once a receipt has been forwarded to your accounts department, the date can be inserted here. After saving the receipt, it is logged for editing. Receipts that were transferred to accounting can therefore not be changed anymore. Also in this case, you can store an introductory billing text for the print document. If time records were built together with the receipt items, a print document including the activity report will be available to you with this project module. It contains a breakdown of cost rates by employee, a cost overview by workload, and the work report itself with a list of the services provided according to item, job, and employee. While transferring order items into invoice documents, the items including their time records, expenses and external services are linked to the receipt item. They can no longer be transferred into another receipt afterwards. This is to ensure that no item is accidentally charged twice. If an item has been billed, then the invoiced and receipt number fields are displayed, including information as to when the invoice was sent and the type of receipt that was sent. With a button next to the field, you can directly open the associated receipt. Additionally, the receipt item and outgoing invoice fields on the time recording will display the receipt with which they were billed. If a print document was already created for the corresponding receipt item, the billed externally on and billed externally by fields are also set. In the third application scenario, we will show you how to create a cancellation receipt for an invoice so that you can cancel the receipt items, including the time records linked to them. Items and time records that have already been billed cannot be transferred into another receipt. To do so, you need to cancel them first. Open the corresponding invoice document and click the Create Receipt button. You will only be able to create cancellation receipts for receipts that use the statistic factor 1. With the selection dialog, you are given the possibility of leaving the time records unchanged with the original receipt. If you select this option, the time records will remain linked to the original receipt and cannot be billed anew. If you select the second option, the values and sales figures of the linked data records are set to 0. Also in this case, the time records will remain linked to the original receipt and cannot be billed again. The third option finally cancels the item, including the time records. This means that the linkage to the original receipt is deleted and the data records can then be billed again. For cancellation receipts created this way, you will be able to see which receipt the cancellation was created for on the General tab. The data of the cancellation receipt will be duplicated and transferred into the cancellation receipt. Cancellation receipts have the statistic factor -1. This has the effect that the outgoing document and the cancellation receipt compensate each other to their sales statistics. The print document generated for the cancellation receipt contains information identical to the document belonging to the original receipt. Only the type of receipt and the number generated for the receipt are different. Via the cancellation receipt, you can directly display the cancelled receipt. If a receipt was cancelled, a section appears on the General tab that shows the associated cancellation receipt. No other receipts can be generated for receipts that have already been cancelled. After the successful cancellation of the items and their time records, you can transfer them again into receipts and bill them. To conclude, we can say that with the Easy Invoice module, it has become easier to create receipts via addresses, opportunities or projects. By transferring all relevant information for the creation of receipts automatically and by verifying the required data, Easy Invoice allows a controlled process of receipt creation. The module is complemented by the individually adaptable crystal report design templates for your print documents.